Ranking Taylor Swift's albums from number 11 to number 1. Today I'm dropping another surprise midweek Taylor Swift video. Don't expect these every week. It's just if something comes to mind that I think might be interesting to talk about. But don't expect them. And today I'm going to rank Taylor's albums in order of my preference from number 11 to number 1. Now, I emphasize that this is a purely subjective exercise. Everyone is going to have a different opinion about this. I'm not going by any imagined objective standard. I'm simply going on what I enjoy most. And indeed, this list is probably not fixed. I can well imagine some albums switching around in their order. And when Taylor brings out her own version of the debut album and Reputation, again, this might affect the order in which I rank these albums. But I've been thinking about this a lot over, well, the last 3 or 4 years, I suppose. And I think it's finally time to make some kind of decision, some kind of statement about which of the albums I actually do prefer. So here they are, ranked from number 11 to number 1. Coming in at number 11, probably no great surprises here, is her debut album. Now obviously this is a really good debut album, but it's up against it from the beginning for me because I'm not a huge country music fan. I don't mind hearing an occasional country or country adjacent song on an album mixed in with other genres, but a whole album of country songs doesn't appeal to me a great deal. If I look at the track list here, I guess the singles, or the 3 opening tracks anyway, stand out for me. Tim McGraw, Picture to Burn, Teardrops on My Guitar. There are probably no songs that I would put on a favourite list here, so it has to go at number 11 for me. But I'm really looking forward to what she pulls out of the vault for this one. Coming in at number 10, again, there are probably no surprises here. It's Fearless. The same problem with this as with the debut album. It's a bit too country for me, but I think it's a notch above the debut album. I think it has some really good songs on here, like Fearless, Love Story, You Belong With Me, The Best Day. There are definitely some tracks here that I would put on my favourites list, so it comes in at number 10. Now at number 9, and this may surprise some people, at number 9 is 1989. It's interesting that I've got 2 of her albums that won Album of the Year at the Grammys here at number 9 and number 10. Now the reason that 1989 is only at number 9 for me is because I'm not a big fan of this out-and-out pop style. So even though this album contains some of her biggest hits like Blank Space and Style and Shake It Off, and I do enjoy those songs, nevertheless the overall style and production of the album doesn't appeal to me as much as it obviously does to some people. I do really like Welcome to New York. Look, I like Blank Space and Style as well, but they're kind of background boppy songs that I might listen to. Out of the Woods is really good. Shake It Off, again, I enjoy that for the same reasons I enjoy Style and Blank Space. Bad Blood, the Kendrick Lamar version, I like that. Wildest Dreams is a real highlight for me. Clean Wonderland, Now That We Don't Talk, all of these are songs I really like. A few of them will make my favourites list. Enough of them to elevate it above Fearless and the debut album to put it at number 9. Now, coming in at number 8 is Red. I'm a bit divided about this album because there are tracks that I really like here and tracks that I don't like all that much. All Too Well alone is probably enough to lift this up to number 8. There are other really good songs like State of Grace, I Knew You Were Trouble, The Lucky One, Nothing New with Phoebe Bridgers. That's a real standout for me. One of the vault tracks on the re-recorded version. I Bet You Think About Me is another one of those. Forever Winter, that's a very special song, I think. So it's many of the Vault tracks that I think lift this album for me. If it was just the basic Red album, this might fall a bit lower, but because of those extra tracks, the Vault tracks, I think this elevates it up to number 8. Now my next one, my pick for number 7, will probably surprise and maybe annoy some people, but my pick for number 7 is Midnights. Now, my reason for not putting this higher, well, there's 2 reasons really. One is I'm not a huge fan of the production style, which really dominates this album. And I also think in terms of Taylor's lyricism and her storytelling, this doesn't quite measure up to some of her other albums. Having said that, there are some great songs on here. I love Antihero, I love Maroon. I particularly like You're On Your Own, Kid. Mastermind is an intriguing song, but again, it's some of the bonus tracks that really lift this for me. Bigger Than the Whole Sky, I think, is just a work of genius. Would have, could have, should have. And I also like the alternative versions of Karma with Ice Spice and Snow on the Beach. So this for me comes in at number 7. Next for me, coming in at number 6, is Lover. There are just some fantastic songs on this album. Cruel Summer, I think, is one of the best pop songs ever written. I love it far more than, say, Shake It Off or Style. Then you have the song Lover itself, which is just beautiful. The Man, The Archer, Paper Rings, Cornelia Street, Death by a Thousand Cuts. Soon You'll Get Better is a heartbreaking song. You Need to Calm Down is great fun. Me is great fun too. I know a lot of even Taylor Swift fans don't particularly like that song, but for me, that's a lot of fun. And Daylight. There are a lot of good tracks on this album and some really good tracks. So that slips in at number 6. Next on my list at number 5, any guesses? It's Reputation. Now, Reputation is almost like 2 albums for me. I really like the first half. I think Ready for It, Endgame, I Did Something Bad, Don't Blame Me, Delicate, Look What You Made Me Do, then Gorgeous, Getaway Car. I think those are all absolutely brilliant songs. It just falls away for me a bit after that, although it does finish for me on a high note with New Year's Day. So that comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, well, things start to get a bit tough here at the top of this list. But coming in at number 4 for me is The Tortured Poets Department. One of the reasons it doesn't come in higher for me is because I'm thinking of the anthology anyway. It's just a bit too long. And I wouldn't want to exclude the anthology because I think some of the best tracks are on the anthology. So when I look at this album, I've actually picked out 19 tracks, which are my favourites from the album. And when I play this album, that's the 19 tracks that I play. There are some mind-blowingly good songs on this album. I don't think I need to list them because there are 19 of them. And even some of the ones I've left off, I also really like. Personally, I think this is a much better album than Midnights. Of the 2 albums, I would have rather seen this get the Grammy than Midnights. But I'm not sure what you would have given the Grammy for. It would have probably been for the initial release of Tortured Poets Department, which I think is actually missing some of the best tracks. So that comes in at number 4. Those of you who know Taylor's discography really well will know what's left on this list. You may be surprised, though, that for me, coming in at number 3 is Speak Now. There's so many reasons for putting this album in this position. First of all, she wrote every single song on this album on her own, including all the Vault tracks. I don't think there's a single track on this album that I don't like. And again, some of my favourite tracks are actually the tracks from the Vault, particularly Electric Touch with Fall Out Boy. I just love that. But there are songs like Dear John, Back to December, Enchanted, Haunted, Long Live. These are just brilliant songs. The only reason that it's not higher on the list is probably because I think her songwriting and her lyricism has improved since then, but it's still an absolutely brilliant album. Now things really start to get tough with the last two albums left on the list, don't they? And I think over the years where I've placed this album has switched back and forth several times. But today I'm settling on, for number two, I'm settling on Folklore. Why have I placed Folklore here and not at the top? Well, comparing the two albums that are left, obviously, of the two, Folklore has the most tracks that I'm inclined to like a little less, mostly in the second half of this album. There are songs which I really like lyrically, like Mirrorball and Illicit Affairs, amongst them, Epiphany, but I don't quite like the musical style of those as much as some of the others. They hit me lyrically, but not musically. But as a piece of writing, as a collective piece of writing, this album is a masterpiece. So, of course, that leaves just the one album, and that is Evermore. Now, as I've indicated, I've swapped back and forth between these from time to time, and I may swap back again on other occasions. But at the moment, I'm inclined to place Evermore at number one. There are very few songs on this album that I ever feel inclined to skip, and I absolutely love the bonus track Right Where You Left Me. It's one of my favourites. Marjorie is an absolute classic. Evermore, the title track, is an absolute classic. Ivy, Dorothea, Nobody No Crime, Tolerate It, Champagne Problems, Willow. These are superb songs. I think in terms of the lyricism, it's every bit as good as Folklore, maybe just a tiny bit better. And musically for me, it's more satisfying. So there's my list. Take a look at it. How does it compare with your list? I'm sure it's completely different. Everybody has their own opinions. Mine may change, particularly when she releases her own version of the debut album and Reputation. But at the moment, that's where they stand for me. I'd love to hear your response to that.